think she's pretty hot.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that pocketbook's sexy.
I'll stick my dick in that pocketbook. What's up?
Girl, I bet you pay all your bills on time. I see you.
Your credit score good.
And we're live.
All right.
Oh, that was probably
Welcome to the intro.
that was probably the only time I didn't want to sneakily press start broadcast.
It might be the first and only time someone said something about sticking their member in a pocketbook.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Can't be the first time, can it?
It's a good possibility.
I think we all need to offer our apologies to Giselle,
Hey,
and possibly just women in general. That'd be a great idea. All right.
Got to be very careful what you say.
It's that type of life, isn't it? All right.
me too,
Well,
guys, me too.
here, Doug,
Oof.
Eddie,
Oof.
Doug,
Ooh.
I'm about to kick you out of here, my man.
No.
All right. So
Time's
Here we
up
are.
for Doug already. Show just started.
I know he's way far gone. It's coming up on Independence Day. He's lost all these pounds. Now he thinks he can say whatever he wants to.
As well.
Well, we're live. We're live on the open bar. It's the fake pigskin open bar. Tuesdays, 9:30 Eastern. J Mike, what do you?
Giselle.
I mean, all I'm saying
Hashtag
is,
not that hot.
I mean, there was a question as to her looks, and I figured we'd let the people.
Oh, look at that Mariah photo.
This is ridiculous.
Young Mariah.
the many shades of Giselle, and people can make it. People can
Did
make
you
a decision
search-
for themselves.
Were your keywords Giselle Schoolmarm? These are like the least hot photos I've ever seen.
No, these are just the normal.
They're all the least hot photos of her.
Doug has a pretty hot take on Giselle about not being so hot.
I thought
I
we
don't think
were
she's that
interested
hot.
in like her credit score. Can't we Google that, J Mike? What is Giselle's credit score?
What is perfect?
She probably has a black card and there's no limit. She's just like do. I'll take one of everything. I'll be done.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Oh, this is the worst show ever. J Mike, how are you?
I'm pretty well, man. Actually, no, I'm not. It's been a really crazy week. However, I will say Father's Day was something amazing at my house. Speaking for all the dads out there, all the guys who do it right, happy belated Father's Day to you. And my girls treated me to something fantastic. We went and saw Incredibles 2.
Nice.
And yes, it was worth the wait. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not a movie critic at all. I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to the movies. But I thought it was definitely worth the actual sequel. So take that for what it's worth.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard two people in my office say they liked it better than the first one.
I mean, I had to watch the first one again before we went and saw the second one. And I forgot how good the movie is, period. Like Incredibles is a very good movie.
So
Can we-
Say it's incredible.
Hashtag on brand. Yes.
Can we talk about Elastigirl and how thick she is? Can we have that?
I think it's fascinating that Disney can just pop out movies every 15 years and still be relevant. Similar to that of T.O.'s 40 Time. Like he can do them 15 years apart and still be relevant. It's just
Pixar's they don't catch bricks, so they just make hits.
I don't know. The Good Dinosaur wasn't very good. Get out of here with that.
I thought it was okay. It was cute.
It's aight. It's
Yeah.
aight. I want a Wall-E sequel. That's what I want.
You're gonna have to wait about 5 to 10 years.
I'm okay with that. I'm only 40. I can if it comes out when I'm 50, I'll still go see it. By myself. Matinee.
175-pound Doug watching Wall-E in the theaters.
Yeah,
That's
right.
gonna be fun.
Looking real creepy.
I think he's talking about the all too realistic future that we're barreling towards.
Yeah, when everyone forgets how to walk and they just float around in these chairs and they get like just fed automatically. They don't even know what's going on. Yeah, yeah, I can see it. Walmart is the big B. Was it B&E? Was the company B&L by and large? Yeah, that's it. It was
Wall-E
It was a
2 might
good.
be out of style.
I'll have to think of something good. Like they come back to Earth, they recolonize, and then I don't know, something happens. Then they have to go back into space.
Well, with nothing happening in the NFL, we could possibly just write the Wall-E 2 script right now.
There you go.
I mean, we do have an Emmy-winning producer
It's true.
on the cast tonight, which speaks to the fact that we haven't even introduced our guest yet.
What a segue.
Come on.
Do
Flawless.
Professional podcaster. Professional.
J Mike is trying to introduce our dear friend Carl Jr. I always want to say Grammy award winning. It just sounds like it just rolls off the tongue better, but do you have one of those too? I mean,
I know, and I think the people at the karaoke night I was with a couple weeks ago would attest that is not my.
What was
specialty,
all right?
but,
What's the
what
song?
was the karaoke song? That's what I need
what's
to
your
know.
song? What's your
I
karaoke?
mean, obviously Rihanna Diamonds. Come on.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do you know who wrote that song?
I do know who wrote that song. Yeah, Sia, right?
And she actually performs it better than Rihanna. I've seen it live and it was amazing.
Naturally.
So good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Agreed.
Let's go around here. Because I've recently done karaoke as well. I did Gold Digger with my buddy, and he did the Jamie Foxx part of the
Jamie Voxer?
Jamie Voxer. We did it on Voxer. It was Voxer karaoke. That might have to be a thing in the future. Doug, what's your song of choice?
Oh, it is by far and away the Humpty Dance by Digital Underground.
Oh, very nice.
I've done it when I was a assistant manager at Best Buy. I used to do it at the team meetings in front of like 100 people, and I would just go around like the whole store and karaoke Humpty Dance. It was phenomenal. It was so much fun.
That's deep.
Oh,
I was not expecting.
Classic song.
And by the way, if anyone didn't recognize who that is by voice, if you're listening to us the next day, but if you're watching him, you probably wouldn't recognize him either. Because my God. All right. It's Doug, Eddie Doug, my main man from a couple of podcasts. Happy to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a good Father's Day as well. It was a pretty laid back one. I didn't get out to the movies just yet, but it was laid back. We just put a pool in, so we were just chilling out in the backyard. Had some friends over, grilled up some stuff, and just enjoyed our 6 weeks of work that went into setting us up in the backyard, man. So it was great.
Happy for you. Also envious of you for
just a little bit.
pool portion. Yeah.
Hey,
So
open invite. If anyone's out in Rhode Island, drop in, hang out. We'll have a beer. We'll do some swimming. Or we'll get silly. Let's go.
I'm gonna Google
Cannonball
it real fast.
contest.
taking you up on that. All right.
I have no idea how creepy I really am.
True.
Just when you think you know a man.
The second of 3 hosts on the DHH pod, Tim Keller.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much, guys. Not much. Just like the other 2 fine gentlemen. I had a fantastic Father's Day. I spent it camping with my daughters and my niece. They got me a nice framed photo of me with them on the Jersey beach. So
Nice.
it's something nice. I'm going to hang it up on the wall somewhere.
Did it hurt
Nice.
taking a picture in Jersey and hanging that up like in your house?
No, I love New Jersey. I love
Oh.
New Jersey.
Okay.
Jersey's great.
Tim, the Eagles fan, is
Some
a fan
I'll
of
say
Jersey.
some parts of New Jersey are great. You gotta watch.
Yeah.
Take the wrong turn in Camden. You ain't gonna like Jersey too much.
Yikes.
All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap up our show. Good introductions there. We didn't. Oh, Tim, what's your karaoke song? And J Mike, you as well. We're gonna have to get that out of the way.
I don't do karaoke too much. I gotta start drinking before I get the courage to really do karaoke. and then the voice really just goes downhill. But
and that's why we're
I don't
here.
know. I'd probably get drunk and try to do like "Don't Stop Believing" and just completely butcher it terribly.
Love that.
Hey.
That's more of a full. That gets everyone in the room singing, so you can kind of drown yourself out because the song comes on, everyone's singing.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a good one. I'm probably going somewhere in the catalog of Hall & Oates. Big Hall & Oates fan. Yes, I know, shocking. I know you didn't expect that from me. So
Private Eyes,
probably Private Eyes, but also Rich Girl. Love Rich Girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Rich Girl's a good song.
She's a rich girl.
Yes, that one.
I don't know the words.
Or I can't go for that. I mean, so many options for them. I can't go.
And I won't
Nope.
stop. I was playing Yacht Rock outside earlier today while we were in the pool, and some Hall & Oates came on, and I perked up a little bit.
Wait, you were playing what?
It's called Yacht Rock. I don't know if you've ever heard of this genre.
No, that is brand new to me.
It's really all right. So here's your mission tonight, J Mike. Because if you like Hall & Oates, you might like Yacht Rock. It's kind of like that soft, easy listening, some poppy mixed in, but Hall & Oates is usually on that playlist.
Oh,
it's what it's meant for.
Easy. Taking it easy.
It's more like Christopher Cross and like some like lighter stuff, but Hall & Oates usually pops up on there. Fair. They played the song from Step Brothers when they're in the garage, chopping watermelons with swords and whatnot. I forget the name of the song, but it's a great song. And yeah, Yacht Rock, check it out. It's from it when you're like on a boat or you're sailing or you're just, I don't know, wearing boat shoes apparently.
It's a very literal genre of music.
Yeah, very much so, yes.
Not too many yachts here in Cincinnati, so yeah, I'll have to
like death metal, it's very specific.
Fair enough. Now, as I look here, if I take I-70, which is the fastest route to Rhode Island, I can get to you in about 13 and a half hours.
Oh, that's not bad. You could, leave at 7 a.m., get here at like 8 p.m., stay the night, man. I got a guest bedroom. Let's do this.
My man.
Bring the kiddos. We'll have a grand old time.
All right.
Yacht Rock.
Could you look it up for me too? Like how many days that would take me?
Oh boy, especially if you're backpacking, that's going to be rough.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, Texas to Rhode Island. You're looking at about a 29-hour drive, there, partner.
Okay.
We'll just shoot Gabe out of a cannon. I think he can make it in one shot.
Probably so.
Diapers,
Gabe. They'll just fly.
Don't stop.
One of those Fortnite trampolines.
Oh boy.
Fuck those
Get
things.
Is that the first Fortnite mention on this podcast ever?
It might be. And I'm pretty terrible at the game, so I don't even know why I did that. I'm sorry.
I can't build for shit. Like I can shoot people all day, but when it comes to the building element, I just
terrible.
No.
It's so much going on. I can't. Yeah, it's too much. Sensory overload.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool element, but it's not for me.
Doug Doug, I did just mention, or not mention, I did just see that your name is, in fact, not Doug Eddie and Eddie Doug tonight. We're going to have to call you something else.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, my wife's Gmail is like the auto sign-in. So you can call me Jacqueline Eddie tonight.
Yeah.
Or Jack.
Eddie Jack.
Jackie Internet.
How about Jack? How about Jack Eddie? That works.
Jack Eddie.
Or how about Deep Eddie vodka? We can go that way too.
That's an Austin thing, so that would make sense. Jacked Deep Eddie. I don't know where that's gonna go.
Is that my porn name?
I think okay. So now let's go around and what's your point?
Let's ask Jacqueline about that. How about that? Can we get a quick heads up on that?
We can't do porn names tonight. We got to wait till we get Threet on for that. That's kind of his thing. So
the good news is he's in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So we're all up on his block right now.
Yeah. J Mike mentions here and there on this show or podcast, however you're listening, that there's a YouTube live chat. Never been there, but he does say that it exists and you can chat with us live or listen to us the next day. That's fun too. Has Matt said anything about he hasn't he?
As soon as you started to sentence.
Yeah. What did he say? What is it?
He says
the butcher, the fantasy butcher on Twitter or something. He is what?
I think he's at Dynasty Butcher.
Dynasty Butcher.
I think, or is it the Fantasy Butcher? See, now I'm doubting myself.
You're right. I think Dynasty Butcher's right.
So he says, I got them poor names. Like, bruh.
Did he spell names with a Z at the end?
Yeah,
I got them poor names.
I mean, he just comes out the chute firing. He's wild. Yep. So
it is Dynasty Butcher, in fact, and is it there? Does he have one?
I mean, no, I don't. He's probably going to get flagged pretty quickly if he puts it in the chat.
Enough.
I don't think Google plays that.
Let's move on. Anything going in the NFL world, fantasy world lately that anyone has to talk about? Because I literally have no idea.
Just a bunch of people hyped on players on Twitter based on short videos.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. Doug, that you feel comfortable in your leagues right now to not exactly make any moves, and I said maybe it's due to the fact that we play with people that aren't so prone to buy or sell.
How about disciplined
or whatever? Yeah, or Mike Gesicki doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, sell him for a third right away. Sell now. Get out while you still can. Has anyone taken advantage of anything that's happened in recent days, weeks?
No.
Or have you seeked out for a trade yourself, like looking?
Well,
for
I gotta say the day of the Gronk rumors was very interesting in terms of is this it? Hold? What do I do? That was an interesting day because I have Gronk pretty much everywhere. I like Gronk. I feel like I should just write it out. But then leaving the Patriots, getting traded away, I was like, man, his landing spot would really create a value. So I was like, maybe the smart thing is to trade him. So I don't know how you guys felt on that day, but I was in a whirlwind of emotions about what to do.
I checked my timeline and I was like, what is all this Gronk talk? I've been kind of not unplugged from Twitter, but I haven't been checking it quite as often. We've had a lot of stuff going on and it's kind of a dead spot in the season. So I was checking it and I'm like, all these Gronk rumors, and I'm like, is he really going to go anywhere? So it was interesting for about 45 minutes and then life went back to normal and I moved on. So it was, being at the center of it. I mean, I'm about 40 minutes from the stadium. So we usually get all the news and stuff, and it seemed like the reputable reporters were like, yeah, he's not going anywhere. So all it takes is one tweet for it to snowball into a bigger thing, and then the snowball melts back into nothing, and we move on, and he's at OTAs, and he's looking good, and his back's healthy, and yada, yada, yada. So I am intrigued with Brady, though. If I had Brady in Dynasty, sell.
Ooh.
Ouch, yeah.
He is talking retirement.
Yeah.
Are we looking at the Patriots as, in terms of status quo for the offense? Or are we feeling like this is probably the beginning of the end? What are we thinking?
I think based on this offseason, just with the whole the supposed rift between Belichick and Brady, and I was last time I was on Open Bar, I gave you my hot take that I think Brady was going to be traded to the San Francisco 49ers and Garoppolo would be the Patriots QB. So now that everything's all
that. Gosh, that was so
because it was a bold take.
Was that like last week? Because I don't remember that at all.
No, that was when you were on your honeymoon. I mean, your anniversary thing.
he was outed by old tapes exposed.
Yeah, they
World
outed
star.
me. But now that I look back on it, based on Brady's attitude this offseason, skipping the voluntary OTAs for the first time in his career, kind of being away from the team, the whole thing with his trainer, like. Going back and looking at it, I wish this is going to sound like an asshole, but I wish they traded Brady and kept Garoppolo for the long-term sanctity or value of the Patriots, because you might have Brady for maybe one more year if he thinks he's going to retire. Who knows? He always said he wanted to play till 45. His wife tweeted out for him earlier today that he was going to play until he was 45 in Spanish. So take from it what you will. But I think if they would have kept Garoppolo and traded Brady, they probably wouldn't have made the Super Bowl last year, which is fine because we lost anyway. Congrats, Tim. And the franchise would have been better for the next 10 years as opposed to being good for like the next 1 or 2. And I get it. He won 5 Super Bowls. Like, how do you trade that? But If anyone, Belichick. We all know Belichick will trade. Belichick will trade his kid if he needs to, and that's what he wanted to do. And Kraft nixed it, and Kraft sided with Brady because Brady was chirping about wanting Garoppolo out of town because he saw him as a threat. So if I look back on it, boom, Brady. See you later.
You know who the next threat is to Brady? Giselle. So Kraft is going to start shopping Giselle.
Danny Etling.
Just saying.
Danny Etling.
Yeah, I don't think that's the answer there.
So in the chat, in the chat,
y'all talk about inserting pocketbooks, but you can't jump on that one. Okay.
Wildin'.
We are recording now, Gabe.
Renshaw says that we need to go out and get Hogan right now. What are you? Who?
I agree with that. Hogan is a solid wide receiver too. I mean, he was a top 10 wide receiver in the first 7 or 8 weeks where he was healthy. Then he got dinged up. Well, look what he did in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The last game that he was healthy, he had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Like Chris Hogan to me is a super value in Dynasty right now.
Do you think he could do a wide receiver 1 year?
I think he could be like one of those surprise guys that's like a low-end wide receiver 1. I don't think it'll happen, but I mean, weirder things have happened. Dwayne Bowe caught 17 touchdowns 1 year. So, I mean, Chris Hogan, I guess it could happen. He's got good rapport with Brady. Malcolm Mitchell's never healthy. Edelman suspended 4 games. Jordan Matthews is new. Yeah. Hogan's the most reliable guy that he's got outside of Gronk.
And Gabe, please forgive me because I lost that link that you sent me. So hopefully I'm using correct information. But I'm on DLF's page here, June 2018, wide receiver startup Dynasty ADP. Any guesses? That's where Chris Hogan is going in terms of what wide receiver? What number wide receiver? Yes.
46.
34.
Is this Dynasty game night now? I would.
Another good podcast.
I actually
shouts
for Bosch and Price there.
Pricer.
Boscher and Price.
Boscher and Price. Yes.
That kind of sounds like a law firm. All right. Shout out to the law firm, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. What is his wide receiver number?
Yes.
I'm feeling Doug Eddy around there. It's got to be about 41 or 2.
What do you think, Bird?
42.
I'm gonna say 36. I'm gonna go. I think he's creeping up. I think the word is getting out. I think he's on the rise.
Chris Hogan, June ADP, wide receiver 54.
Whoa!
Settled directly behind.
I was wrong.
Behind Robbie Anderson, Kenny Golladay, Josh Doxson, and directly in front of Emmanuel Sanders, Kelvin Benjamin, and Dante Pettis.
I take him over all the names you listed.
I like those. I like those last 4 guys more than the previous guys.
Yeah.
So
I don't. So I know this is kind of, we usually talk about Dynasty here, but what about do you have the redraft? What wide receiver he's coming off there? Just kind of out of curiosity.
If you vamp, I will go to a fantasy football calculator and try to find that out.
I was gonna say, I bet his ADP and redraft is probably in the 8th round.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the 8th or 9th round. I don't think he comes out after pick 100. He's got to be before that, I would think. I'm in New England, so in all my drafts, he's going to get overdrafted.
Yep.
So that's just the way it is.
He missed a lot of games. So he played in 9 games last year was all?
Yeah, he was out for a while.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So I see he was 9 games last year and ended up as wide receiver 55, which is funny. So I think he did that on 9 games last year. That I know that's Dynasty ADP, that he's the 55th wide receiver, 54th wide receiver coming off the board. I mean, I think
his points per game though are probably like top 20.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, his value definitely is there. Higher in redraft though. He's got a lot of value there.
ADP over the last month, May 19th to June 19th. Chris Hogan is going in the 6th round at 601 as wide receiver 26.
That's a little rich. Interesting.
That's settled directly behind Brandon Cooks, Marvin Jones, Jarvis Landry, and directly in front of Michael Crabtree, Corey Davis, and Will Fuller.
Wow. Will Fuller's that high? Jeez.
It's the Deshaun Watson effect.
Right.
To kind of combine a couple topics here, I saw a Kenny Galladay like short video, and then I saw some Kenny Galladay truthers come out saying he's gonna impact Marvin Jones' numbers and develop into a potential wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1. What do you guys think of Galladay in congruence to Marvin Jones?
I like Galladay. I think Galladay is a heck of a football player. I don't think he can be a wide receiver 1. I don't see that out of him. I could see a low end wide receiver 2. Even mid wide receiver 2. I think he'd be a solid wide receiver 2 for you probably. But and obviously that's going to take away from Marvin Jones there and Golden Tate if he's getting more production. But
I think the biggest thing that's going to take away from Marvin Jones and Galladay is that they're going to run the football more. They've got a beefed up offensive line. They've traditionally been like a pass almost 70% of the time, one of the lowest in the league as far as run percentages. I think that that's going to kind of even out a little bit. And I think that you're not going to see Matthew Stafford chuck it almost 700 times or whatever it is every year. I think that's going to come down. They got LeGarrette Blount. They got Kerryon Johnson. They still have Theo Riddick, Amir Abdullah. Just kidding. But I think that there's not going to be as many passes in that offense. So I think that's going to hurt Marvin Jones. He's actually one of my biggest fades. Like, I'm not a Marvin Jones guy. I think that the regression for Marvin Jones is going to be pretty heavy this year. I know there's people out there like, buy Marvin Jones. And I'm like, I don't have any confidence in Marvin Jones to even come close to what he did last year, in all honesty. So
Marvin Jones is a very hot offseason name.
Yeah, no kidding. You're kind of an outlier there, Eddie Doug, or Jacked Eddie.
It's my gut and what it tells me. And it's in one of those cases where he looks like a candidate. Like, I'm just not interested in having him on any of my rosters. If I had him, I would try to sell him and get like a 2019 late first, because that's what he's been pulling. So I would try for that all day, or get a player that I liked more that maybe right in that ballpark range. That I think is more consistency. The thing about Marvin Jones is, like, if you're in best ball, he's great. But if you're in dynasty or redraft, like, he'll have some good weeks, but then he has like the 3-catch, 42-yard 3 weeks in a row, and then all of a sudden, boom, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and you love him again. I hate those players in dynasty. I would rather have the consistent guy that's 5 or 6 catches a week, 80 yards, and get a touchdown every once in a while, as opposed to these big boom or bust guys. Like, I just try to avoid them as all possible. But for best ball, Marvin Jones is great, but just not in the dynasty format.
Yeah. I just remember last year, I drafted Marvin Jones in like almost all of my leagues.
Because he was dirt cheap.
Yeah, and by the end, but he also was off all my teams. And I mean, I don't know what he really did. He obviously had a big year numbers wise. I think he outpaced Golden Tate, but now people love Marvin Jones. He has a lot of value out there.
He's great at jumping and catching the ball and body control, but he's not a complete receiver, and he doesn't run a clean route tree. Like, he's good at a couple different things, and those guys just don't tend to be, if you're good at a couple different things, you don't tend to be consistent every year.
I also think people are really high on Stafford too. And to your point about the beefed up, line and backfield and taken away from Stafford a little bit, that kind of does ding Jones as well.
Yeah, I like Stafford's value in terms of dynasty, especially in superflex leagues. Like, the nice thing about Stafford is that he's almost always healthy, and if he does get hurt, he usually plays, which is nice. But also, I mean, you can pretty much book him for 4,000 yards passing and at least 25 touchdowns every single year. So you know what you're getting out of Stafford. So I like that aspect of it. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see the 5,000 yards passing and 40 touchdowns Stafford again. I think that's long gone. But I think he's one of the more attractive QB2s in superflex formats because of his consistency. And he does have some upside with all those weapons around him. So, I don't mind him there. I'm interested in what they're going to do at the tight end position. I think that's one of the biggest question marks on that offense. Are they just going to not throw to the tight end at all and use Riddick and some of these other guys? Who knows? But that's a big question mark.
Luke Wilson, man.
Marvin Jones or Mark Ingram, dynasty?
Ingram.
Yeah, I got to go Ingram. I've always liked Ingram, and he, even if he's off the Saints, he could go somewhere else and still have value.
He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him.
That's true.
Marvin Jones, Alex Collins.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm gonna go with Jones. Just because
I think I'll go with Jones too.
Easily Marvin Jones because of Kenneth Dixon to God.
You boy, it's his last chance to dance right here.
He's a short CL hype guy.
Yeah.
Last one I'll throw out: Marvin Jones or Kenyon Drake.
Jones. I'm not a Drake believer.
Just I would say, okay, not like from a value perspective, I would probably take Drake and then sell him to the Marvin Jones owner and get a second round pick as well, because that seems to, I mean, are they close in ADP, J Mike? Because I figured they were further apart. Everyone seems to be on that.
Marvin Jones and who?
Marvin's room. Marvin's room.
Drake. And Drake, that was perfect.
Well done. Perfect. Well done. DLF ADP, Marvin Jones is going as overall player number 57. Kenyon Drake, overall player number 60.
Oh, all right.
I think I would take Jones because Balaj to God.
Yeah, I agreed. I feel like Drake has way more risk compared to Jones. I feel like Jones has a little bit of stability going, where you can kind of predict what he's going to do again. While he might not be the true upside of your dreams, he's not going to tank you unless he gets hurt. Drake can definitely tank you.
Yeah.
You asked if we were making moves based off of any sort of offseason news, and this is kind of like the reverse of that. You keep hearing all these Corey Coleman trade rumors. The Browns are starting to impress. I still believe in what I saw on tape and my scouting at Corey Coleman. I saw an electric football player. And so I've been attempting to get Corey Coleman in leagues for as cheaply as possible. And people are selling Corey Coleman based off of this news we keep hearing.
It's
what
funny
have you paid
you
for him,
mentioned.
Tim?
Yeah, what are you paying?
Well, what's the news? Hold on, wait. Before we get to what we're paying, what? Because Matt Butcher also brought this up in the chat earlier. What is the news that we're talking about?
The Browns just keep somebody in the Browns just continues to keep Corey Coleman is going to be traded. The Browns just aren't impressed. The coaching staff just doesn't work with Corey Coleman. Corey Coleman doesn't get along with the coaching staff. I haven't heard any of this, but the Cowboys are in desperate need of receivers. The Browns are looking to deal. I could see somebody like the Cowboys coming and getting a Corey Coleman, and completely based off of my scouting of Corey Coleman coming into his rookie season, I thought Corey Coleman was one of the best receivers in that class. He went in the first round in every rookie draft that year. I'm getting Corey Coleman for
also the
late seconds, early thirds, because
do you know who his best comparable player is on playerprofiler.com is?
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yes.
Oh, did not know that. Yeah, just based off the talent alone, what I thought I saw on tape, and I'm believing what I saw, I'm going to go buy this talent that was just a year ago a top 5 pick in most rookie drafts.
I mean, he really hasn't done anything wrong either. Like that, from your perspective, Tim, the tape checks out.
Wait, Gabe. He did do something wrong. He dropped a pass. Yeah, the Browns could have won a game.
Yeah,
an egregious drop.
It was the reverse. Corey Davis. Corey Davis had the nationally televised game where he caught 2 touchdown passes, and we see this skyrocket of value. And the exact reverse happens for Coleman. He drops a pass that could have won the Browns a game, keeps him from going 0-16, and everybody's like, "Oh, boo, Corey Coleman." You get this little bit of news about the coaching staff not liking him, and people are just willing to sell. You can get him as a throw-in on the back end of deals most of the time.
Yeah.
And he's had, I mean, to allude to the drops, could have been because of the hand issues. Yeah. He had a few, way too many hand surgeries in his first
broken wrists and whatnot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I still don't think he's been given that chance yet, really. And
question is, does he even get the chance in Cleveland?
Right.
I think they move on from him.
I think Jeff Janis is a real thing this year.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Log out.
Matt Kelly somewhere just smiling.
I'll tell you why. Because if they move on from Coleman. he is bigger and more athletic than everyone else at wide receiver position they have besides Corey Coleman. So
Antonio Callaway?
Well, Callaway too. But there's I forgot about Callaway. But just saying.
Takes exposed.
World star.
I guess I'll tell you why. I looked him up. I had no idea. He actually is super big and athletic. His best comparable on Player Profiler is Alshon Jeffrey.
Saginaw Valley State represent.
He has a lot of positives. I mean, look, the Browns need something, anything. Yeah.
They have Rashard Higgins still. I like him. He had one good game, and I picked him up in a dynasty league to never be heard from again.
But what if Callaway? I mean, Callaway has he has to walk a straight line. I feel like
he's going to learn from Josh Gordon, Dave.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think Callaway is anywhere near a sure thing. I do like him.
Let's talk about the real weapon in the Browns passing game, and that's the Chief. It's David Njoku. Buy all the Njoku you can get because he's the truth. Legit.
Here we
Future
go.
tight end one.
Yeah. We're
Let's
talking
go.
about the Browns too much again. We did this a lot with Kevin last week, and I've kind of agree with him that the Browns ADP is too damn high.
They have 7 players in the top 100 in Dynasty.
So
it's
weird.
way too many.
So let's play a game. Of those 7 players.
Welcome to Dynasty Game Night.
I want to play a game.
Gabe and J Mike.
Oh, do you want to play a game? Never mind. I'm done. I'm not gaming anything. Forget it. Game.
No, do the game. I like the games.
No.
J Mike, do the game.
Okay, sweet. So of the 7 of the 7 guys that we just said, hey, they're all in the top 100. Let's play a game of ranking most relevant to least relevant in Dynasty. Oh no, forget that. No. Let's do this. Let's go for this coming up season. Most relevant to least relevant. Who's the most relevant Browns player?
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon.
Agreed.
Second most relevant, Jarvis or Duke?
I'll say Jarvis.
Wow. Duke's going to have a big role.
Because if you're telling me that Jarvis is also going to be the second most relevant, then what we're saying is we're expecting massive things from the Browns this season. Massive. To have 2 the top 20 wide receivers, if you're saying that they're going to be, those 2 will be the top 2 guys on the team.
I don't know if Landry's going to be all that in a bag of chips this year.
And if you're expecting Tyrod to be the quarterback for, even really half the season, there's no way that he can do 2 top 24. He can barely do 1 top 24 wide receiver. So if we're expecting him to play the whole season,
I've never seen what goes on in their locker room. So he might be able to do 2 top 24 receivers.
Hey.
What about Todd Haley being in the mix? Does that give you any sort of excitement for the receiving core?
Yeah, totally, but not if Tyrod's the quarterback. I mean, that's just not Ben Roethlisberger as far as a passing quarterback.
He's more efficient,
but he's not going to throw as much as Ben Roethlisberger did.
No, he's not.
So
he's out there to knock it up, if you ask me.
That's probably fair.
He's more efficient because he throws less.
Well, he also didn't have much to throw to.
So who's second? Jarvis or Duke or Carlos or whoever you want to say?
I put Carlos ahead of Duke, really.
Okay. So are you putting Carlos ahead of Jarvis? Apparently not.
I'll go Jarvis number 2 just because I think he's going to get – they paid him. He's going to get the targets, but I don't think he's going to score close to 10 touchdowns again. There's just too many weapons that's going to be the struggling thing with this offense is there's not going to be one stud touchdown scorer outside of Njoku. There, I said it. So it's going to be hard to predict in a week-to-week basis what's going to go on with that offense. It's going to be, it's like any of these other offenses that have a lot of good players and, it kind of gets peanut buttered out like the Packers. Last year, Devontae Adams was like the only thing there because Jordy was, coming back off the ACL. He was washed. Randall Cobb was and they had like 4 different running backs. So Adams obviously scores a ton of touchdowns, but in a normal year when all those guys are, 2 years ago, it's going to be mixed up. So you're playing a guessing game. That's what baffles me at the top the 7 guys in the top 100, because you're trying to tell me that there's 7 guys that are going to be fantasy relevant next year,
right,
in the top 100, and I find that extremely hard to believe.
See, I find it more,
can't do it.
Can't
so
do it.
I find it more hard to. I mean, yeah, I agree with that argument entirely, and that like you can't have that many top players. Like, there's just no way. And even if you could, who's your quarterback? I think you have to start looking at that argument. And there's just no way that Tyrod Taylor can support that type of offense. If you turn to Baker Mayfield in his rookie year, could he have that type of year that others have had in the past? Cam Newton,
I think you're underselling Tyrod. I think he can with that talent around him. Look what he had in Buffalo. He had LaShawn McCoy. He had Watkins for 2 years, and really 1 year because he was hurt with the foot injury. And outside of that, I mean, yes, did he have Robert Woods, Chris Hogan, and Sammy Watkins all at the same time? Sure, but they weren't necessarily the same players they are now. I think Tyrod is slept on in fantasy. I think he's a good quarterback. He's got the scrambling. He's getting 40 yards a game, which is an extra 4 points, which is a passing touchdown in most leagues. So I don't see why he couldn't be effective with all of this talent around him, a good offensive line. I just think that Tyrod could be, if Baker doesn't take over this year and Tyrod plays the whole season, he could be a QB1. Back in QB1.
So I agree with you 100%. You're missing what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about the players themselves. Like, I don't, there are 5, 6, 7 guys that we're trying to, argue to be in the top 100. You don't think there's going to be
enough passing volume to support all those guys?
That for one, yes. And for two, just to be able to, I mean, 2 top 24 wide receivers, very rare on the same team in itself. Is Tyrod Taylor going to be that guy? I don't think so. Will he be a top 12 quarterback with all of those weapons around him? I think that's entirely possible. But with that, I don't think that you can, I guess I'm unsure of what correlation could exist between a top 12 quarterback and 2, top 24 wide receivers, a tight end 1, 2 top 24 running backs. Like
a tight end 1, let's be honest.
Like, I want Tyrod's definitely the guy to own. Out of all this arguing of who's going to be where, like, Tyrod should be the guy that we want on our team, unless we, have more faith in Baker and he's going to make it happen mid-season or early season, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. To be a tight end 1, that's 5 receptions and 50 yards. You're like the tight end 8 on the season. So that's completely doable for David Njoku, I think. So let's put that one aside. But, I mean, as far as the wide receiver goes, you might be onto something there because, there are so many guys. It's really going to be, who he decides to lock in on and who he has rapport with. And if that's Josh Gordon, cool. If it's not Jarvis Landry, it might not be. I mean, let's be honest about Jarvis Landry. Does he get 100 catches a year? Yes. Does he typically score a lot of touchdowns? No. He's usually in PPR formats, he's usually a solid wide receiver 2, sometimes even to that wide receiver 3, just because he's living based on receptions. I don't think he catches 100 balls this year just because of all the guys around him. And, they might run the ball more often because Tyrod, he is efficient. His interception ratio is one of the lowest in NFL history. And he throws, in my opinion, Tyrod Taylor throws one of the best deep balls in the NFL. You can come at me with that if you want. I think he throws a really nice deep ball. So I think he lines up with Josh Gordon more than he does Jarvis Landry in his skill set. So I don't think there's going to be 2 top 24 receivers out of this offense, but they are being drafted as such. And I think that, people need to kind of rein that back a little bit because there's no way.
I definitely think there could be 1, but I'd have a tough time saying that there will be 2. Just
you're playing the guessing game with the whole offense.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why
you just have to go from the center of the web and just take the guy who's delivering, the skins to all of these very talented players. I mean,
so just real quick, and we can put a bow. We can put a bow on our Browns talk. Tyrod Taylor, the most yards that just in the last 3 seasons, he's thrown for 3,035 yards, 3,023 yards, and last season 2,799 yards. With that being said, he's finished as quarterback 15, quarterback 8, and last season quarterback 16. So I think you're onto something there with the value being in Tyrod. So
and also hasn't played a full season in those 3 seasons. Is that right?
Fact, 14, 15, and
Peterman,
15. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Peterman. Right. Yeah.
5 pick Peterman.
That happened. So several of the folks, there's a couple different directions we can go in that have been thrown out in the chat. So I'll let you guys choose. Do we want to touch on SFB now or later, or would you guys rather talk about sneaky Super Bowl teams that could come up out of nowhere and really challenge?
Ooh, I like the sneaky Super Bowl teams, to be honest.
Yeah,
And that conversation with the Jaguars, right, J Mike?
Turn up.
They're not sneaky.
They were in one game
Not
only last
sneaky
year.
anymore.
All up in your living room with our feet up on the couch and
Were they,
everything.
How about a team
Mike,
that,
I'll
how
tell
about
you
a
what,
team
last
that
year?
missed the playoffs that could go to the Super Bowl?
All right.
If I had an
Let's do
AFC team, Jacksonville would be that team.
Nice.
Jalen Ramsey, he legit.
Welcome
Go
aboard,
Knowles.
Tim.
Yep.
Go Knowles.
Thank you.
What about Houston with the healthy Deshaun Watson?
David, where?
You forgot where you were, David, talking that craziness. No, I'm just kidding. No,
That's legit.
Yeah, that is legit. The defense, golly.
Los Angeles Chargers.
That's exactly who.
I bet on that
Yeah.
every year.
What up,
So
Spoonie?
did I.
Spoonie in the chat. What up, Spoonie? Brad Harrison. He threw out the Chargers.
If the Chargers would have had a kicker making field goals the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, they'd have won that division, I think.
R.I.P.
One of
Young
my-
Way. Young Way
One of
Cool.
my favorite tweets that I sent out early in the season was the Chargers are now 0-2 when they lost their second game in a row.
That's good.
That tweet didn't get nearly enough love, but it was one of my more prouder moments.
You look at it, you're
I'm
like,
proud of it.
I made that.
I
You put
made
a lot
that. That
of
was
you put a
good.
lot of sneaky daggers out in the universe. I like that.
0-2.
That's good. I like that. That's a fun offense. Golly, you talk about pieces that you want.
Defense. That defense is fun.
Yeah.
Derwin James.
Come
They've got healthy Jason Verrett coming back. They got Casey Hayward. They've got Ingram. They've got Bosa. Like, yeah.
They don't
The
have
defense is
Hunter
gonna be
Henry,
nice,
though,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Womp, 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 womp. I mean, you can't count on Jason Verrett very long because I feel like he just keeps getting hurt. But your point still stands. He's uber talented. Ridiculous.
I think the Saints are going to be a nasty, nasty team this year. I think we just saw the tip of the iceberg last year.
How about the Vikings?
The
They should be
defense
back.
is actually there now, and that seems to always be the problem with the Saints. So yeah, I agree with you, Tim.
I think the NFC. I don't want to say it's kind of like written out, but the Vikings, we know they're going to be back. Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy all year, that's going to be a heck of a battle. I can't wait to watch some Packers Vikings games this year. You know, even when
Detroit too.
Yeah, even when both these teams aren't good, those divisional games in the North are always just fun to watch. You got to think the Eagles are going to be decent again. The Saints, of course.
I got one for you.
The Rams out there in the West.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah.
Let's go. Playoff bound.
I can't get behind.
I'm with you, Tim. I can't do it.
no.
I can't do
Y'all
it.
are whack. Tampa Bay's coming this year. This is the year.
I think they win more than 5 games. I think they are in the hunt, but I don't think they make playoffs.
I think they make the playoffs this year.
They got that bump last year from the Hard Knocks.
I don't care about that.
Hard Knocks bump.
Bro, they were 5-11 last
Look what they
year.
did. They fixed.
Oh my
they worked
God.
a lot on their defense in the offseason. They got Jason Pierre-Paul. They made some really nice draft picks. That offense, we talk about an offense with a lot of talent. Evans, Godwin, Brait, Howard, my boy Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones. Jameis Winston is being slept on heavily in almost all the leagues that I'm in.
Vegas has the win total at 6.5 on the Bucks.
I'd take the over. I'd slam the over on that.
Where was that? Connor is pretty high on the Coach Fire odds I put in here too.
Yeah, I think Turd Cutter is probably. Yeah, I called him Turd Cutter.
Cutter, whatever.
Yeah, I think that he might get axed if they start out slow. But I just from a talent perspective, I really like what Tampa's put together. Their defense was terrible last year. They've still got one of the best linebacking cores in the league. That defensive line, the Vinny Curry, Gerald McCoy, Jason Pierre-Paul, and they added one other guy on the line. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that defense I think is going to be pretty good.
McCoy's first step is so nasty. He's so quick off the ball.
And you got Pierre-Paul, yeah. I mean, he's got 8.5 fingers, and he's faster than most guys with 10. Shout out, July 4th coming up. Make sure you're safe, kids.
Fact.
Oh boy.
That was me.
You guys mentioned NFC North teams. The Bears seem like a very hot offseason team, especially fantasy-wise. People are
hashtag this year's Rams.
Yeah, exactly.
The new Rams staff wins.
I personally have been trying to acquire as much Tariq Cohen as possible.
Oh yes. Oh, they seem to be in love with Tariq and that coaching staff.
Yeah,
they want to get him the ball in so many ways.
If you had to put your money on it, Packers or Vikings to win the North?
Vikings. They're a more complete team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw what one injury does to the Packers last year. You know, who the
hell is their third wide receiver? Is it Geronimo Allison?
Geronimo Allison right now. Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd say Vikings too. I think this is one of the least, fascinating wide receiver cores that Aaron Rodgers has ever really had, and I don't know. I think they need to strike a little bit of gold with what they seem like they draft. They're trying to find a third wide receiver.
One of those guys.
Yeah, they're hoping one of those guys is a lottery pick and I don't really think that any of them are. Maybe I know we all kind of love ESB, but
I like Moore. He's my favorite out of the bunch.
Out of the three, I like Moore. Yeah, but I'm not even that high on Moore.
Doug, just want to throw this out there, shared by our dear friend David Berger here.
Adam Gase, huh?
Yeah.
So that Tampa Bay pick there.
See it. Oh, that other guy that they added to the defense was that stud Vita Vea and he's an absolute animal. That defensive line is going to be. Just saying.
They got John Gruden getting fired after getting paid all that money. Huh?
All I'm saying is Dirk Cutter's fifth here.
He's at plus 2,800. He's pretty low on the list, Gruden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Wrong Gruden.
I can't wait for that team to win 4 games.
Yeah, can anybody please explain to me what they've done?
They've added old players.
The Raiders. I mean, I don't know.
Ryan Swisher, turn up.
They gave up a draft pick for Christian Hackenberg, and they had him for 21 days.
Yep, that was fantastic.
Like, wow, you really are trash.
Yeah.
The Patriots had him in for a workout, believe it or not.
It feels like Gruden stepped in.
Guys to bring in now.
Doesn't it feel like Gruden stepped in and was like, "I'll come back because I think your team is good now, and I'm just gonna do a little ornamental decorating, nothing like big moves or
kind of like you did in Tampa."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good team, and then just 1 or 2 pieces, boom, look what happens.
Hey, we didn't talk about the Martavis Bryant news that they were kind of scared that he might be suspended again. That kind of was like a few hour thing, and then it was like shoved under the rug. So
yeah,
is that over with? Are we done with that?
Like Doug said, it came and went pretty quick. It was a big thing, and then just nothing.
If Martavis is suspended for the year, I'll be buying Jordy Nelson on the cheap.
Yep.
Because he's going to get a lot of targets.
Really, helps Jordy even more than Amari Cooper. Really, I think I love that Crabtree was gone and that Nelson was replacing Crabtree as far as Amari Cooper goes. I think he's going to get back into the where he belongs, top 10 dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Amari.
I can get behind that.
For a half second, I thought you meant Jordy. I was like, bro.
So Tim and
I don't think Jordy's ever been there.
Sipping that scissor.
We going back 4 years.
So Tim Tyler and I just picked Amari Cooper in the DHH Eliminator. And one of the things that I said he has a chance to be the redemption song wide receiver of the year, like DeAndre Hopkins was last year.
Yep.
Because, you take a guy that has 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons and everyone's kind of crapping on him because, he was inconsistent. He had that one big 200-yard game. But we know he's got the skill. He's been with Carr long enough. And there's no Crabtree in town. There's a potentially washed Jordy Nelson maybe working out of the slot. Martavis might get suspended. Cooper could see a ton of targets and put up a 1,300-yard, 10-touchdown season and be completely redeemed in the dynasty community. I don't think anyone's really given up on him per se because I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall with Cooper as him being a huge bounce back candidate. But there are people out there that, they get frustrated with a player and then they start to shop him because he didn't pay off that 1 year. because let's be honest, a lot of people don't have patience in Dynasty that play it, which is always amazing to me because it's the long game. It's not the short game. But I think Amari Cooper is one of the biggest bounce back candidates at wide receiver this year. I think he could come back and have a monster season.
See, I saw some tweets last year during the season saying, Diggs was the best receiver in that class. And I absolutely love Stephon Diggs. He was my guy from back in Maryland days. Like I was about this guy before he was getting ready to graduate, or I'm sorry, come out of Maryland. But I still think Amari Cooper is the more skilled football player. I love Diggs. I think he's easily the number 2 in that class, but Cooper is easily still the 1 for me.
He good.
Yeah.
I think redraft wise, he's an amazing value right now too. I think he falls like in the 3rd or 4th round in terms of redraft.
Yeah, he's like late 3rd, early 4th. I think I've seen him go. He's a perfect if you're going to start with a couple stud running backs and redraft, and you grab Amari Cooper as like your wide receiver 2, give me that all day long. I'm all about that life.
Didn't we?
Yeah, but that's a weird super flex. Everyone's drafting quarterbacks, and not us though, because.
YOLO, we're just loading up on them skill spots.
Amari Cooper or Leonard Fournette?
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper.
Cooper for me.
They're going back to back in June ADP.
Oh.
I mean, Amari,
got both of them.
Besides last year, Amari Cooper has finished ahead of Stephon Diggs. So I mean,
Stephon Diggs. The thing is the groundswell. We've seen flashes of, I wouldn't say greatness being him being an excellent receiver, but it's that volcano. We've seen it build up, but we haven't seen the eruption yet, and that's what everyone is banking on with Diggs. Is like, oh, he's going to pass Thielen this year. He's going to be healthy this year. Like we all know his skill set, and that's the attractiveness in Dynasty is that you want a guy like that on your team, but how many times have we seen that not hit? And maybe Stephon Diggs is like, all right. He's 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cool.
It's kind of the same argument with. Sorry to interrupt you. Kind of the same argument with Cooper. That
sure
is when is he going to?
But at least Cooper has been consistent in his first few years in the league, and he's been healthy. So Diggs is. I see the potential there. Everyone's like, oh, he's the next Antonio Brown. Well, guess what? There's not a next Antonio Brown in the NFL right now. I don't think. Yeah.
No.
But we all see Diggs' potential, but it's it's that volcano. We want to see the eruption, and maybe it's this year, maybe it's not. Who knows? I'm intrigued. I own him in a couple spots. I didn't pay a lot to get him, thankfully, but I like him as a player. I just don't know if we're ever going to see what the expectations are from a lot of people.
Final year of his rookie contract.
That's interesting too.
Is the Minnesota situation a little too good to be true? Like the Cousins signing was so great for it that I feel like Thielen, Diggs, Cook, Rudolph, these guys are all floating around the top value at their positions. I mean, is there going to be enough to go around? Are we having dreams of, because it just seems so good on that reality is just not going to meet those dreams?
The only one that I really want in that offense, if I was to target a player to trade for, it would be Dalvin. And I know the price is high, but I just love Dalvin Cook. So I'll log out after that.
I'm more worried that Shermer's gone a little bit. I mean, that seemed to, no matter who was at the helm for quarterback. And then I know Cousins is great and all, but I don't know. I'm curious if that will have a more.
Is Cousins going to be that much more of an improvement over what Case Keenum did last year?
I think he can be. Like the ceiling is obviously higher, and I think that's what draws people in.
Sure.
I think, yeah. I mean, obviously Case killed it last year, so it's hard to say anything against that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess their guy. I don't know much about him. The Filippo.
Out of Philly, Tim's boy.
Yeah, worked with quarterbacks for a while.
He was a QB coach for Wentz and Foles last year.
Right.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
All right.
Does anyone
Nick Foles
Wentz? Does anyone think that that's? I know. Sorry, Tim. You can, if you want, leave. But is Wentz too damn high? It seems like there's a lot of trust going into this year, and whether it's redraft or dynasty, whatever. I mean, can he have a top 5 year in, year out? Like, is he that dude? I don't know.
Nobody wants to touch it.
All right.
I know what Tim wants to say.
I was a very big Carson Wentz doubter when he first came out. I thought the Eagles gave up way too much to draft this D2 player. I was disgusted with it. I think that Carson Wentz has done a whole lot to prove himself to the NFL fans, to fantasy players, to dynasty players. I think he is setting himself up to be, like a Drew Brees, a Ben Roethlisberger type for fantasy players going forward. That guy that you can draft and you don't have to worry about it. Like, I'm gonna get this guy in my fantasy drafts, and then I'll just wait till the very end of the draft, if at all, get a backup quarterback, because he's going to be the guy that's going to be consistent. He's going to have the great weeks. He's going to have a lot of good weeks, and he's going to have a couple weeks that you're like, man, I wish I had somebody else to start this week. But what I can tell you is that coaching staff is 100% sold on the fact that Carson Wentz could win multiple Super Bowls with this team they have around him. They are completely sold on Carson Wentz. And from everything I heard, this guy is way ahead of schedule. He's running. He's planting on that leg. He's throwing the ball with velocity. He's moving wonderfully. And he's back in that leadership role. This team is Carson Wentz's team. So if you have doubts about Carson Wentz, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to get him in any of your drafts this year. But I think it's easy to say he's going to be one of these guys that's a top 10 quarterback for a long time.
Tim.
So I'm not sorry, J Mike.
No, I just saw something in the chat. I can wait. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about the injury whatsoever. Everyone tears an ACL these days, but I totally lost what I was going to say.
Skill set thing? What about him makes you doubt?
I'm just it's hardly even that. It's so you said Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah. I agree in the regard that yes, you can rely on both of those guys pretty well, but one is certainly going to be a top 5 quarterback every year, and the other is going to be a top 10 to 15 quarterback every year, dependent on health, I guess, for Roethlisberger. But I mean, Brees is like a perennial dude. So yes, I agree in relying on him, but can he be a top 5 guy every year? Because to me, Brees is that, but Roethlisberger is not. But I think that those are both decent.
I kind of use them as bookends because I used a Brees who's on the upper echelon of that group, and the Roethlisberger who's on the
a ceiling and a floor comparison.
Yeah. And then I kind of ended my little discussion note with saying I think he's going to be a top 10 guy for a long time. So I put him kind of in that range. Of a Drew Brees to a Ben Roethlisberger. He's probably going to have some years where he comes out and we saw it last year. He had an MVP-like season before getting injured. He can have those Tom Brady-like years where he's putting up, maybe not, 50 touchdowns and whatnot, but he's going to have very good years, but he's also going to have some years where, maybe it's 29 touchdowns and respectable yardage,
Yeah. I think his only real chance of regression is the NFL kind of figuring him out a little bit and having more tape and, not just him, but the Eagles in general. Mm-hmm. And that said, I also think those guys seem to be pretty creative. I don't want to go as far as innovative, but they seem to look for opportunities to get yards, get touchdowns. So as soon as they, figure something else or figure them out via film, they're going to be doing something else. So Carson is, going to be some sort of regression proof in that aspect. But obviously a chance to dip down as people kind of figure out what they're doing.
Right. Dave, and with Derek Carr last year, Mariota last year, Prescott last year, all 3, even Winston, I suppose, all 4 of those guys were easily within the top 10. And I remember Carr and Mariota, Winston, those were guys they were 4, 5, 6 right in a row. And because of their years. So, and then what happened last year, then they fall off the face of the earth. So, I guess I'm just saying it could happen to anybody. And we fall into the lap of this, very great year, this one great year, and now he's like a top 5 guy for the rest of his career.
You could say the same thing for Deshaun Watson too.
I know, and that's another guy.
And that was a handful of games.
I mean, now it's like
that was a handful of games.
Now these guys are in the top 10, but like you're getting all this value with Winston and Carr. I don't know about. It seems like everyone doesn't like Carr anymore, but Mariota and Prescott's team is rough. But I don't know.
Hey, Dave, do we have any? Oh, real quick, Dave, do we have any Vegas odds on how many times we're going to hear the RPO or run pass option in Week 1 in the NFL? Is it at 1,000? Is it at 1,000?
It's the over under is 200, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's going to be annoying.
What about
the over?
You guys see that tweet that was like, "Watch Brett Favre invent the RPO from practice." It was like a Gruden, like a QB talk.
Did not see that.
I missed it. I'm going to Google it right now.
It was a pretty good clip, but it was like, I mean, really, like this is him inventing the RPO. I don't know. I'm not a football historian like that. I feel like I got to fact check that.
My only favorite thing about Carson Wentz is that you can say Wentzylvania. That's like so cool.
That is a very solid nickname.
It is very fitting. Yeah.
Strong.
J. Mike, what did the chat say?
Shout out to the homie, and the chat really lit up after a while. So shout out to everyone here. Zach from the Dummies, Spoonie is in the building. Mike Stepney's in here with us. The Butcher, obviously, and last but not least, Matthew Renshaw. Shout out to the Dynasty Dads. Matthew Renshaw, as you were talking, Tim, about Wentz, this is what he threw in the chat. Dak, greater sign, Wentz.
Oh, I know math, and I know what that means.
That means the alligator's mouth is open to macaroni and cheese.
He's just going to eat Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he's like, I'm turning my back on Wentz and toward Dak.
Well, he might as well chew up Dak because Dak is a very skilled football player. He's a very quality quarterback. I think Dak is more in the range of the Ben Roethlisberger side of things. I think his upside's kind of limited, especially with his receiving core they're going to have around him. As long as they got Ezekiel Elliott there, they're going to lean on that guy. That guy is an animal, and why not let him do his thing? If they don't add another receiver somehow before the season starts, I think Ezekiel Elliott could possibly lead this league in touches easily. So if you have like a point per carry league, do whatever you got to do to get yourself some Ezekiel Elliott, because who's in line for more carries than Ezekiel Elliott with this receiving core Dallas has?
One last thing I want to throw out there.
Zeke
is going to eat a lot of cereal this year. It's going to be crazy. Porridge for everyone.
Milk spilled everywhere.
Yes. He also put Dak = McNabb.
Yeah, I see. My actual scouting of Dak Prescott, as a matter of fact, I compared him to McNabb. He's got a lot of the happy feet. He likes to slide back in the pocket. He throws off the back foot a little too much. He has odd inaccuracy at times, but he can also be very clutch. Dak, you put him in that, all right, we need to go score here. Dak will get that done for you. Dak's a hell of a football player, but I don't know. There are some physical things that Carson Wentz did last year that not too many people in the league did that can do. And I'll take Carson Wentz over Dak, but I'm not saying Dak's a bad guy. I like Dak as a quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback.
Yeah, I like Dak as a quarterback, but he did ruin Des Bryant's career as the fantasy football value by completely inflating his target share with completely uncatchable balls all season long, over 16 games or whenever Des was in there.
Is it possible Zeke's going to go for 400 touches this year?
He's going to get close.
Who else is going to touch the ball?
Really close. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he does. If that's the case, Zeke's going to be the number one player in Dynasty. I mean, the number one player in
if he holds up, yeah, he's.
Going at like 105 in redraft in some drafts.
Shoo-wee.
Let's see. 2016, he ended up with 254 touches.
And he missed 6 games.
And sorry, his first year. But
yeah, 322 rushes, 32 receptions. Yep. Yeah.
350 what? 350 something?
Yeah, 354. I think the math whiz said. Thank you, Gabe.
Oh yeah.
Did that all in my head.
Like who was that? Jerry Jones' son saying Tavon Austin's going to get 20 touches a game. I think he just got the name wrong. I mean, Zeke's going to get 25 touches a game.
I mean, his pace last year was 26 a game, and that's well over 400. So I mean, yeah, I think, and that was last year with sort of Des Bryant with Jason Witten though, and I think that's entirely possible.
R.I.P. Dead Runner.
Yeah.
How are they really going to predict that the wide receiver share? I mean, there's literally you have no idea how it's going to work.
I guess we can move on then.
1% Terrence Williams,
no idea.
0% everybody else.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you can project all you want, but
they should trade for Corey Coleman.
I was just about to say I was going to bring it back. Wheels up, Corey Coleman. All right.
Seriously, right? What are you going to give up, like a fourth to get him?
Yeah,
I think this could be a team without a top 24 wide receiver for sure.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dak is the type of quarterback that could produce one. So I think it could happen for sure, but I also think that they will just feed Zeke, and Dak is just going to spread it around too, and do a lot more with his legs. I mean, I don't even mind Dak that much this year, really.
Well, the Cowboys have a sports car in the garage that's collecting dust that they're not going to let out anytime soon. And that's the Rico Gathers model. So
the only thing he was not gathering is targets.
I know. I don't want to talk about it, guys. I want to get sad.
I mean, Cole Beasley just sabotaged Ryan Swisher out of town. So can we not get behind the Cole Beasley?
Maybe they had a rap battle and Beasley won and Switzer had to go.
Beasting.
Got to go.
Things.
The people want to talk SFB in the chat earlier. Obviously, I think Berg, this is your first year in it too, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I know all 3 of you guys were in. Gabe, Tim, Doug. Where'd you guys finish last year? Do you have any idea?
I made the playoffs, and I think I finished just under I think I finished in like the 275 range, if I remember correctly. Which isn't too bad.
Don't know specific place. Just know I made the playoffs.
Made the playoffs. Went to the second round. I actually had a pretty tough regular season schedule. The only reason I made the playoffs was I was the highest score in my division. So I got that rolling.
That's how I made it in too, Tim. I made it on points.
I was getting beat by just big monster scores. I was running the buzzsaw week after week, but I was competitive. I was putting up big scores myself. So I got hit on the points. But yeah, made it to the second round. I don't remember my number, but it is. I was just talking to Tim Torch of UTH just the other day about this, and there's nothing like the SFB. Just because you're going to get to play in divisions with a bunch of people from sites and TV shows and networks that you've heard of and you followed and you've read for years and years, and you get that little interaction with them. That's just a ton of fun. You get to see how you pair up against them. But just to see, like, just to make the playoffs in that league, you're like, I was good enough to make the playoffs in the FFB. Like, that many people when I made the playoffs, and then you get past the first round. Damn, I might be all right at this. I might know what I'm doing a little bit, just a little bit.
I think there's got to be some semblance of. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I hope I'm in that position this year and not in the complete opposite, where it's like, wow, I suck at this.
Have you guys seen your division? Who's in your division against you?
No idea.
I briefly checked mine. I know I have Heath Cummings from CBS Sports is in mine. That was one of the big names that I recognized when I just briefly looked at it.
Yeah, Bosch put a picture of who was in mine, and it was I was a little nervous, to be honest. Let me see if I can get that pulled back up. A little sneak peek action.
I'm checking to see where I ended last year, so please hold.
Yeah, me too.
Fact.
Week
So
12 leaderboard. That's all I can find.
in the JD and Turk division, Dr. Roto from Scout Fantasy, Justin McCaslin, the Fantasy Authority.
Nice.
I've got Wispy the Kid from RotoViz. Chris Allen, shout out to Dynasty Owners Manual. It's automatic. Jaron Foster from DLF. John Lipinski, also from RotoViz. Nathan Powell from DLF.
There you go.
Not to mention, also the folks who are the fans in this division, the big homie Joe Pano.
No Pano, no Gano.
Taylor Cannavare.
Man, you got
So,
some
like,
bangers.
what
as
the
fans
crap?
in that division. Wow, that's a tough division. That is a really tough division, man.
Sheesh. Like heat, a lot of heat. I don't know everyone, but I know names. I'm like, gosh, dang. So yeah, this will be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So that's the JD and Turk, and I don't know if that's everybody, but it looks like there's some open spots still. So
I can't wait to see the scoring system this year.
I think it's
pretty similar. Yeah, it's pretty similar to last year, isn't it? Just the wide receiver and tight end is not separate. And
no, I think he decided to separate him again.
Okay,
like he
I saw that he was back and
I
forth
think he
on that.
separated
Yeah,
him.
okay.
Yeah.
Such a mad scientist. It's crazy.
I mean, it doesn't really matter until draft day, so he can do whatever he wants.
19 days from now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Gabe, I still mourn for you. You had such a good draft, and just like it just all went to crap.
it was weird. But I mean, like that's kind of what were we asking, like advice last week or something? That
Yeah, they were asking advice. Yes.
Yeah, that you just don't give up, I guess, because there's gonna be players available, and
Hope is a strategy, I guess.
hope is a strategy. It really is. No, man. I mean, Andrew Luck, David Johnson, or Zeke. No, I had Zeke, not David Johnson. I had Zeke and Andrew Luck and Carson Palmer. Oh, it hurt. What I can say for sure, a lot of people were taking tight ends, like and a lot of them early. I don't like that strategy, even though the tight ends are at a premium. Like one is fine, but like I don't think that that's going to help you to get multiple of
tight ends. Gross.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It's just overall really is like, yeah, stop it.
Yeah. Unless you hit on one of the guys that's going to be like, maybe you hit on like a George Kittle this year that has the upside, or an Njoku, like just wait on tight end. I mean, I know it's like you said, premium scoring, but how many tight ends out there get more than like 4 or 5 receptions a game? Jason Witten just retired, so there's one less one.
I wouldn't even draft at a tight end if he decided to combine them.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I would just hammer wide receiver.
Yep.
But I think that's one of the reasons why he separated them.
Yeah. We're in those eliminators right now, and in like the 9th, 10th, 11th round, which, mind you, are very deep for 16 or 17 teams and 16 players on your roster. And like in that deep, like, you're scooping up. I know this is stupid to say, but like, I don't know, like a Josh Doxson or a Tyler Lockett, like, yes, we don't care about them anymore, but we did a year or two ago. And could they have a top 30, 40 season where they're being drafted as like a top 70? Yeah, I think that's pretty realistic. So, I mean,
sure.
It's just so deep, and it's a best ball, and the eliminator is best ball. So like, yeah, and I don't know.
I definitely agree on Lockett. I think Lockett has a prime opportunity this year in Seattle. All those targets are gone. He's good. I mean, look at his highlights.
Come on, player. Dave. They signed Brandon Marshall. The Lockett dream is over.
Just lock it up. Lock it up.
Oh.
Not to be a highlights watcher, which I know people hate, but.
I don't know.
So what should we talk about SFB specifically?
I know Renshaw was saying, hey, wide receivers are super devalued, right? But I know we touched on last week just how basically with them being devalued, how much of a giant value they became for a lot of people in drafts. So
I think they still will be this year too. I think like Amari Cooper, for example, people were leaving Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins left for dead last year. And then all of a sudden they're both top 5 guys, DeAndre Hopkins being the number 1 dude. And that could be Amari. That could very well be Amari Cooper this year, I think. And there's going to be value in a lot of places. What I've seen in a lot of drafts this year, as far as just how, I don't know if I've ever seen running backs like this top heavy before. Like, it's kind of scary. Like, thinking of like a 12 team mock or something. I don't know, like 7th, 8th, 9th round. Like, I sort of get disgusted with what type of guys are available there, and it almost forces you into drafting these running backs early. So that is something for SFB that will be interesting, because the whole first down things, that it changes things a bit. But I think that running backs are going to be taken higher than ever. And they already were last year, and I think they'll continue to do so.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening. I mean, this reminds me, the running backs, the kind of, not the evolution of the position, but the resurgence of the position reminds me of the good old fantasy days where, the strategy was start off with 2 running backs, whether it's like Sean Alexander and Priest Holmes or whatever you choose to do back in the day. It reminds me a lot of that, because there are so many good running backs. But, one of the things that people keep forgetting, I think in a lot of drafts that I'm going to do, especially in redraft and maybe even Scott Fishbowl, is kind of zig when other people are zagging. Like, I don't mind going 0 RB strategy whatsoever. And I know wide receivers are devalued, but if I can get Antonio Brown in like the 2nd round, and that could legit happen, like, I'd gladly take Antonio Brown there as opposed to a Kareem Hunt or a Dalvin Cook, because the safety of Antonio Brown, where the running back position, there's still a lot of injuries, and wide receivers typically don't get hurt as much. And I know that wide receiver positions, the wide receiver yardage and touchdowns were down last year, but I don't think that's going to be a trend. I think the ship's going to right a little bit.
They're still passing more than ever in the NFL.
Yeah.
That number is still climbing. So maybe.
What about Michael Thomas?
That's another, Michael Thomas has been a perennial, top 10, top 12 kind of guy. So that's more of a safe pick and really has the upside of a top 5 type of. And I think Devontae Adams, sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is going to throw the football more this year too. So I like Michael Thomas, especially where you can get him in a format like SFB.
Yep.
Renshaw has the 6th overall pick, which he's got all the inside news. I had no idea that
they're already putting out draft order.
Apparently Renshaw says he's picking 6. So what should he do?
I do remember last year that that was just kind of a setup for your order, not necessarily the actual setup. So that might change.
When he was tweeting out the photos of the divisions, he said more than likely the draft position won't change.
Oh, okay.
I gotta look deeper into this, guys. I'm out of the loop.
Yeah. When is SFB and what is it?
Why am I in there?
He said that Renshaw says that he's leaning Rodgers at 6. Ron Rodgers.
I took Rodgers in the 1st round last year, and then I took I got Gurley in the 3rd, I think, which was nice.
Won't be doing that again.
Yeah, no. Lightning's not going to strike twice on that one, boys.
Well, wrong, because Kenneth Dixon will be available in the.
I'm sorry. Did you say Joe Mixon? Is that what I heard? Joe Mixon? I think that's what I heard. Yes.
For those that may not know, we are your favorite podcast. So chances are, but for those that don't know these Scott Fishbowl basic rules, 900 teams, which is just categorically insane.
Handy.
Yeah. 75 league divisions of 12 teams, 22 rounds. We start 11 total players, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 3 flex spots, 1 super flex spot, if you will. No kickers, no defenses, no trading. So it gets pretty. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty grisly. You gotta make it count.
There are waivers though.
There are waivers. Yes,
the draft matters, but total waivers, man. Yeah.
That's how Gabe stayed alive last year. Stayed alive last year.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Go and scoop up your.
I got Bob Woods on waivers last year.
Bobby.
Solid pickup.
Yeah, it definitely helped because Sammy Watkins wasn't doing shit.
Bob
Which is not to say that he will not kill it this year. Come on,
he's
Sammy.
gonna absolutely pop off this year. Book it.
Let's go, Sammy. Make Papa proud.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Nice.
And any other chat topics there, Jim-Mike?
Out of bullets, my brother.
Here with SFB, that was kind of making me think when Renshaw was going 6 overall with Rodgers. You can compare ADP with previous years with Addison. Addison Hayes is selling that right on FF statistics. So, and it's like $1 to get all of the previous ADP and all Scott Fish
Man,
Bowls.
that's just too expensive.
Right.
I can't flip that, man. I just put it in a pool, dude. I can't spend a buck.
So this is where you draw the line.
This is where I draw the line. I can't do it.
Sorry, kids.
Can't do it.
I'm kidding, of course. $1 is phenomenal for ADP information out there in the.
And it's going to be very,
universe.
I mean, especially that it changes every year, but it's going to be very similar to that of last year. So I think like if any year is going to be useful for, ADP history, it's going to be this year because it's so similar to last year.
Agree.
There it is.
Nice. I got a player's name I would love to start a little roundtable discussion on, and it's been mentioned before, but Jets wide receiver Robbie Anderson. What? Oh, we got a vomit noise. That's not a good song.
I think that was like the beginning of that Rush Hour song.
Oh,
I thought it was the beginning of the cop scene where it goes, huh, bad boys, what you want, siren noise from Robbie Anderson. When the sucker down come for you.
I mean, he was a guy that flashed last year and had a lot of big games. And it seems like all of his personal stuff that kind of drove him out of any sort of discussion and probably produced a vomit noise is kind of blowing over. Darnold is obviously the future in New York. Who knows how that's going to turn out, but seemingly positive. To me, he's a guy that I feel like is kind of flying under the radar who could be like pretty good next year.
I also think you can lump in Isaiah Crowell on the same team for a guy that's a value right now.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. Sorry, not to steal your thunder, Dave, but
no, I agree. I mean, I
hated Crowell last year. I hated Crowell last year, but now I'm kind of like, I don't mind him at his ADP.
Yeah, especially in redraft, he's probably going to be in like 11th or 12th round.
Perfect. If you're going zero RB in redraft, I want all the Isaiah Crowell later in the draft. Like that's just that's a smooth move.
Crowell's going in the 8th.
I'll take it.
Of Dynasty.
No redraft fantasy football calculator.
So I'd just be worried about Anunwa coming back and signing Terrell Pryor. Really, Rob, I don't know if Robbie Anderson is like.
We talking about Terrell Pryor. About Terrell Pryor.
Yes, but I mean compared to Robbie Anderson, yes. If we're talking compared to like Jamison Crowder and Josh Doxson, like I think that is a different argument. A lot of people were hype on Pryor last year, and it turned out no wide receiver was relevant in that town.
He made a one-handed catch in the end zone on a third-string cornerback in training camp, and everyone was friggin' jizzing all over the place, like, "Oh my God, Terrell Pryor, the GOAT!"
You had to see that first week. The Redskins tried like 3 times to hit him deep, and then they're like, "This ain't gonna work." So they don't.
He ended up going in the 3rd round in like redraft leagues last year.
Oh gosh,
never on
Stupid.
that. One and done.
Oh yeah, but I didn't know him anywhere.
I still think that I think that's another team that will not produce a top 24 wide receiver. So I'm just Yes, I just don't think that that's going to be of any interest. And if anything, they're going to produce like 2 top 40 guys, like, and they might be Anderson and like Anunwa.
Jordan Leggett, who?
Or Elliott's boy, whatever his name was.
Ardarius,
yeah.
Ardarius.
Right.
Ardarius.
Yes.
What about Chad Hansen?
Quincy Anunwa was going in the 14th.
I love Quincy Anunwa.
Yeah, that's who I'd be scooping.
Right. So Robbie Anderson in the 7th or Quincy Anunwa in the 14th.
I'll take
that's not a question, right? That's not
because you're talking of like which of those 2 guys do you project to? Like I said, like not a top 24 season in my opinion. I don't think the Jets can do it. Maybe one, maybe. And which of those guys could do it? Either of them, really. Who's cheaper?
Give me the cheaper guy.
Yeah.
So Dave, I don't think you said how you were feeling about him.
I'm
sorry. In a 12-teamer, Robbie's going in the 9th, and Anunwa was not even listed. In a 14-teamer, Robbie in the 7th, and Anunwa in the 14th.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to. I don't know. The 9th sounds okay to me from Robbie Anderson. I don't know. I like the positive inertia, a guy who has been on the field and made plays and scored touchdowns, versus a guy who sat all last year. I don't know. I don't think it's like a 9th round is like some astronomical price. But I agree that the value play is probably Anunwa because he could very much usurp him. There's always that risk. But I don't know. I like Robbie Anderson. The more I think about it, the more I like him.
You're right. The price is, actually not that expensive. I mean, he's like a top 60 guy for wide receiver. Like that's pretty cheap.
And he could be a top 30 guy. I mean, I think that's a ceiling.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
But yeah.
What about another guy whose name I would love to talk about that we mentioned before was Kalen Ballage.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, let's talk about he's going to take over the starting running back job by week 7.
What if this is my hottest of all takes? But what if he's the poor man's Alvin Kamara this year?
Yes,
I love it.
Yes,
I've gotten Kalen Ballage in a bunch of drafts relatively late in rookie drafts, just because of how deep the front end of the rookie class is. And people were just like, Kalen Ballage, no, I don't know. But yeah, you can get him in mid-second round, late second round in some drafts, and he has that upside of being, this year's Kamara-esque player, like Kamara light.
Yeah. So I tweeted out the week of Thanksgiving last year. It was what if the Philadelphia Eagles draft Kalen Ballage and pair him with Jay Ajayi, and the Eagles have the new Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara? Obviously, he didn't get picked by the Eagles, but he went to Miami, and I agree. The athleticism's there. The usage in college was weird, kind of like Kamara was. I totally agree with that. And his hands and route running are pristine. Now, obviously, having Drew Brees versus Ryan Tannehill might be a bit of a problem. And the offensive line isn't as good in Miami, but I think from a skill set, Ballage could pay off huge dividends on your dynasty teams, and he could even be relevant in redraft leagues as a guy that you pick up off on waivers this year if Kenyon Drake gets hurt, he's not the healthiest dude, although he did look really good last year, Kenyon Drake. I'll give him that. And, Frank Gore, the fantasy cockroach, is behind him. Is he really going to be anything? So I think Ballage, the toughest thing about Miami is trying to gauge when Adam Gase talks about his players, because he just blows smoke up everyone's asses about everybody. So to me, I want to watch Ballage really closely in training camp and the preseason, because that's going to give me an idea of how they use him on the field. And I want to see him against NFL talent, because it is puzzling why they didn't use him more at ASU, because he was clearly their second best player on offense after N'Keal Harry. But yeah, Ballage, to me, I think that's perfect. I always kind of comped him to Kamara as his ceiling. He may never get there, but you know what? I've bought into it. So I own him in a bunch of spots. And you know what? Let's do this. I'm down.
I see. I mean, though I agree with the Ballage love, I'm not exactly on board with, like, I would unless you were I don't know. I would almost flip it as to like Balaj is the Ingram and Drake is the Kamara type of scenario.
I'm just saying from the pass catching chops of Balaj.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kamara is a very good pass catcher, and so is Balaj. So
that's where most of his touches came from with Kamara. I mean, that he was most efficient in the passing game, and and the rushing game too, I suppose, because he whatever is 6 point whatever yards per carry. I don't know, but don't care. I think I guess I just saw Balaj as more of a grinder.
No, he's definitely not a grinder. His vision in between the tackles needs improvement. But if you can get him outside and get him into space, he's going to be a problem.
I agree.
Cool.
I mean, I just think in terms of, I feel like Drake's, he's got the first crack at that job. Sure. And he's probably going to be the early down back. I think, Kamara wasn't so hot out of the gate, and then eventually, did what he did.
They traded Adrian Peterson, and that was kind of the opening they needed. Yeah.
Yeah. So Balaj might not make it on the field right away because he has Drake and Gore in front of him, but as someone who's deep on a roster who could break out and have a lot of relevancy, I feel like Balaj sort of fits that bill.
I agree.
I just threw out in the chat if there was anything else folks wanted us to talk about before we log out. And
hopefully someone says Rex Burkhead, because I always love to talk about Rex
Burkhead. But I got crickets, except for Dwight Peoples made it in. Better late than never. What up, Dwight?
People's champ.
People's champ in the building. Yeah, I think that's it.
Good talk. Okay.
Good stuff. I want to say thanks, guys, for having me on. I've been trying to come back. I think I was on like the first one with Doug, oddly, way back when.
So I think you might be right. Our cycles are lining up.
Exactly. Flow app.
Oh, gosh.
It
started with
glad we could start and end like this. Very good. Okay. Proud of you two.
I should probably promote my show, United Shades America, Sundays, CNN, PM. Check it out.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So if you guys really thought we were joking when we said an Emmy award-winning producer, that's totally a fact.
Yeah, not actually real.
The night he received it, he sent us the picture in the league chat. Like, it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was a great night.
United Shades, and holla at him.
That is awesome.
Share my exuberance around. It was also the night before week 1, Sunday. So that was part of it.
Hell of a weekend, man.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
It's funny though. I hate to admit this, but I did kind of black out, and I woke up in a panic, wondering if my statue made it back. Thankfully.
Oh man,
where's my statue? And did I set my lineups?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Who's in? Who's out?
Forget about my Emmy statue.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I put it. I gotta go.
That would be something me though to fucking lose it.
Oh shoot. No, Berg's my dude. Berg.
Yes.
Incredibly happy to have you on, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks guys.
The dynamic duo. Oh, I'm sorry, Gabe. I'm taking your job. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think you're doing great.
Nope.
Okay. Eddie Doug.
Jacqueline. Yeah. Yes, I am Jacqueline Trotta Eddie tonight.
Jack
Eddie.
Yeah, Jack Eddie. Thanks for having me on. I love coming on the open bar and just chatting it up with you guys and giving some lukewarm and some hot takes that I truly believe in. I don't say stuff just to say it. I'm not that type of guy. So this is stuff I actually believe in. And it might be a little bit different than other people, but hey, that's part of the fun because hey, if there was anybody that knew anything in fantasy football, we wouldn't be talking about it. So that's the way I look at it. But you can find me on the Dynasty Happy Hour with my co-host Tim and then Tyler, who's up north with the family. So shout out to Tyler. You know, he's having a Father's Day weekend, getting away for a little bit from his job, so he's relaxing, which is always cool. So you can find me on Dynasty Happy Hour. You can also find me as the host of Trophy Time with my boy Josh Trotta. So we're coming out with a new episode this week too, and I write on tffgurus.com. And I can't wait for Scott Fishbowl to kick off. It's going to be absolutely lit this year. So I am coming for the ship, Dan Sano. Let's go. I'm going to win the whole thing.
That is the only person you're targeting.
Just the guy that won it last year. That's the pinnacle. I'm going to climb it.
So, Doug, you last show you came off with the Tom Brady take as your hot take. What is your parting hot take for tonight?
Jeez, I don't have anything prepared. Here's one. I'm gonna go with one of my guys because I gravitate towards my guys, and once you're in the inner circle of my guys, you don't ever leave. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. It's paid off more than it hasn't so far. So I'm going to tell you that Aaron Jones is going to be an RB1 this year.
Ooh,
oh, daddy.
I believe in Aaron Jones, and I think he's going to be an RB1. I think he's going to beat out Ty Montgomery and Jamal Williams. He's bulked up in the offseason. He is the dude. He's the most athletic guy on that team. And I think Aaron Jones is going to be an RB1 this year because every year, look how many RB1s that finished last year that we totally didn't expect. There's going to be guys that come out of nowhere and finish as RB1s, and I'm putting my money on the Aaron Jones. Let's do it. Let's go.
Thank you, Doug. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
the take.
Hey.
Tim, I'm completely with Doug there, by the way. Doug and I share a brain on Aaron Jones.
Wow.
I love that kid. I think he's electric. And I know there's a lot of people out there on the Williams side, on the Williams wagon. It's Jones all the way for me. I got him. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that. Like, I told you so. That's what I want. I want that. I told you so mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guys, I want to say thanks for having me on. You can also hear me on the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. This has been a blast, though. We are a slightly more structured on the Dynasty Happy Hour. So just to kind of have like an open forum, throw ideas out there, have somebody else throw an idea and just kind of ran on it a little bit was a lot of fun. I've sat in and watched a few of these, especially early on. I was watching a lot of these. You guys do a great job. And happy to see you guys keep going with this. And to throw a hot take out here, I'll throw one out for everybody. Is I think I said this on Dynasty Happy Hour a week or two ago. Is Joe Flacco? He is going late in drafts, and for good reason. But every time Joe Flacco gets his back pushed up against the wall, he comes out swinging. Anytime that man's in a contract year, he makes the playoffs. Joe Flacco plays his best football. The Ravens just drafted Joe Flacco's replacement. Joe Flacco knows win, lose, or draw. He's out of Baltimore next year. Joe Flacco is going to put up numbers this year and get himself another nice paycheck before he's done playing football. I think Joe Flacco can get you. He's not going to be a QB1, but for as late as you're going to draft Joe Flacco, you're going to get value out of him, getting him way late in drafts.
Come on, give us a number, Tim. Come on.
A number?
Yeah.
Well, the QB.
Top what?
I'll say Joe Flacco is a high QB2, so I'll put him at QB. I guess I'm going hot. I'll say QB 14.
Love it.
I was going to say 16. Yeah.
Yeah. Top 15.
If I'm gonna call it a hot take, I'll make it a hot take. So QB 14.
Face melter. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean he's not even on like ADP at all. So
they revamped that receiving core. They got your boy Dixon healthy. He's gonna come out, catch the ball out of the backfield,
and run the ball out of the backfield.
And I like Dixon too. I ain't nearly as in line with you as I am with Doug and the Aaron Jones take, but I do have quite a few Dixon shares that I would like to see pay off.
That's exactly how I feel. And
So
that I have Dixon shares
Dixon.
that I want to pay off. Just give me something.
Dooley, you too. I got you in one or two spots still.
Yeah.
I just need to trade you for anything, and I can't get nothing.
Gabe's got Dixon in his purse.
Hello.
Where he puts it.
Okay.
I'm bringing it full circle again. No? All right, fine.
I'm with you.
You'll be hearing from Giselle's
Yeah.
station soon.
Yeah, she'll call me and be like, Dog, did you say something about dicks in a purse? With her man voice. Get out of here.
Slander. Oh my god.
Oh,
Get out of here with that.
we better end this podcast before Doug says something he really can't.
If you went down to Brazil and Giselle was walking on the street with all the beautiful Brazilian women, you wouldn't even look twice at her.
J. Mike.
Truth hurts, man. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh man, that's good.
Doug's a Hannah Jeter truther.
Oh man, I can't. There's no coming back. I'm gone. I'm done. For everyone who's been rocking with us in the on YouTube Live as well as in podcast form, man, thank you so much. We are incredibly appreciative of your support, of your fun that you get to kick with us, and we always encourage you guys to pop the top with us, to press play, because we come in here and we don't take ourselves too seriously. So thank you to our guests. Thank you to everyone who's listening to this in whatever version it is. Again, you can find me on Twitter at JMICCheck, at JMikeCheck. You'll find the show's handle at the Open Bar FP, as in fake pigskin. And again, you can catch us on Stitcher, on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, you name it, we're there. And again, come holler at us, and please leave a rate and review for us, and subscribe if you haven't. Share it with a friend. And I think that's as much of a sales job that I can do to this point. Last thing I do want to throw out real fast, my hot take, not that anyone cares, but I'm buying two things. I'm definitely buying I'm on the John Ross train. John Ross, top 25 receiver.
20 seats.
Ross.
Top 25. I'm calling it right now.
Top receiver?
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
That is fucking scorching.
So, yes.
AJ Green also, like, or what? What happens?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. It'll be one of those weird things where John Ross's catch percentage is like garbage. He catches a bunch of random touchdowns with just long plays, so the consistency won't be there.
Will Fuller, right?
Bingo. Exactly.
There you go.
So that's what I see. But the one that I really think will actually happen legitimately, I'm buying the Atlanta Revival. So I'm buying all. So Matt Ryan, Devonta Freeman, Julio Jones, all top 10 at the positions next season. Wheels up.
I can dig that.
Yeah,
Austin Hooper's still a tight end too. Sads.
Yeah, no love for Austin.
I like that. I don't mind the Falcons one. That John Ross one is certainly
crazy.
high on the Scoville unit.
I'm breaking a bit of a sweat. I'm gonna go jump in the pool after this.
Oh, shut up, Doug. You just wanted to say it again.
I hope your loose shorts fall off.
Yeah.
Dude, it's dark out. I'm just gonna go naked. YOLO. Let's go. I got to show off this new body, bro.
There you go.
Okay.
You do you, pimp. Do you?
Hell yeah.
We are coming up on summer solstice, so get your summer solstice body on.
Facts.
Is that a new Sam Adams drink?
Yes.
Or a wrestling pay-per-view?
Summer solstice. Oh my god. That's a new
John Cena.
At summer solstice.
Takes on Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship at Summer Solstice.
And the thing is that it ends up just being like a yoga retreat, and he's just teaching everyone yoga. Summer Slam versus Summer Solstice. Who you got? All right, we've gone way too far. I don't even have a hot take. Hot take, I'm going to win SFB 8. Ooh. So there it is.
No, you ain't.
I know. But I just wanted to segue into just so how fucking cool it is that there is over $20,000 in the bank for SFB 8 this year. That is awesome.
That is fantastic.
Absolutely incredible. And it just happens year after year. And excited to be a part of it. Excited to know all these good people. Whether it's you three on the show, 4 with my homie J Mike. on this show and everyone else on Twitter. I've enjoyed getting to know each and every one of you out there, and it just brings me joy to see that. So excited for SFB8, excited what it's for, and ready to draft for it, Scott. So, hurry TF up. All right. I am the FF Man Bun guy. That's the brand. You can find me on Twitter. What else? We're Fake Pigskin. They've got a subscription service for all fantasy things. Go do that. $5. Okay. J Mike, what?
Go do it. Like you said.
I know. Like, what else are you gonna do, J Mike?
You can do it.
You're gonna go like
cut his
pay
head off.
$5 to go get into your local public pool. Like, no, just go to Doug Eddy's house instead. Save that $5.
You can get in for free.
Free.
Okay.
Hey, yo, I got these 2 cheeseburgers, Doug.
Anybody want a cheeseburger?
All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
That was good. Might use that bit for a ringtone. That was amazing. Okay. Thrive Fantasy, that we are partnered with them a little bit. We do prop DFS scoring there. That's fun. Way more fun than, betting on Alvin Kamara to have a 5 catch for 200-yard game, because that's super efficient and happens all the time. Go bet props instead and say that he'll get over 50 yards receiving. That makes sense. Sort of, in a way. J Mike, do we have a show next week?
It's currently scheduled. No, wide open. So
all right,
it's a flip of the coin, perhaps.
I think it is, because J Mike, we have to talk.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's been real, guys. I appreciate
you. So this is the finale of the open bar as far as spring goes, because summer solstice is 2 days away. So
turn up.
Hey. Featuring Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman again for the 7th time. Brock Lesnar never drops the title. Boring.
By God, Michael, RKO out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
Okay, hot take. Brock Lesnar is an RB1 this year.
He couldn't even make the Viking squad. Whatever.
Poor guy.
Rock Thomas.
The bad Vikings back in the day.
Ooh, Rock Thomas.
The Rock Lobster.
Okay. We just said Rock Thomas. I think it's time to go. Thank you all for joining us, you fellas. This was absolutely fantastic.
Rock Cartwright.
We might see you next week. We might see you 2 weeks from now. We might see you in like August. I have no idea.
We might see you in July when I'm actually in Gabe's neck of the woods. Hey. Well, I forgot you're going to be at.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Don't disappoint people.
Yeah, I know it. I'm sorry.
All right. Cheers to my fellas. This was a blast. We will see you all at another time. And deuces.